younger, did you have a birthday where all you cared about was that one specific gift? You didn't care about anything else, but you just wanted that one item. For my youngest daughter, it was her 9th birthday. I clearly remember where I was sitting when I received a text message from her with a link that said, "Dad, for my birthday, all I've ever wanted is this. It's my dream come true." So with a little bit of hesitation and anticipation, I cautiously clicked on that link. And this is what I saw. Initially, I had a few concerns. The first being the price. The second, the fact that Harper up in her bedroom has 86 other dolls. And number 3, is this a real kid? Is my daughter wanting me to buy her the gift of motherhood for her 9th birthday? So my wife and I, we began to discuss whether or not this life-changing gift we really needed to get for our youngest daughter. And ultimately, we decided we'd pass just primarily due to the price and the fact that she has enough dolls to furnish a brand new It's a Small World ride. So ultimately, we passed on the gift. Harper's birthday came. That morning, she was full of anticipation. There was expectation. There were dreams that her life was about to change. Unfortunately for Harper, that day ended with disappointment, tears, because life didn't play out the way she anticipated. However, the next morning, I received a text message from Harper that said, "Dad, for Christmas, all I've ever wanted is this." So again, my wife and I began to discuss whether or not this gift we needed to get for Harper. The truth is she is the baby of the family and always gets her way, so perhaps we just need to give in and do what Harper says. And then I remember one night at dinner, we're sitting there as a family and Harper announced, matter-of-factly, she said, "I know for Christmas, I'm getting that new reborn doll." I said, "Harper, how do you know this? Why are you so sure?" And she said, "Because I went through my room and I went through my closet and I got rid of some of my dolls to make room for my new baby." Truthfully, my wife and I, we didn't know how much longer we had until Harper was too grown up, too cool, too mature to play with dolls. So we decided to give Harper a Christmas where all of her dreams come true. We got online and ordered the doll. You see, many of us in this room are a lot like Harper. We were born with these dreams, these desires, these expectations of what life was going to look like and how it was going to play out and how we were going to ultimately achieve success. And somewhere along the way, I don't know if it's in our 20s, our 30s, our 40s, or somewhere in between, but it's as if those dreams have turned into routines. And we find ourselves sitting there on the curb watching the parade of life passing us by. When just not long ago, we genuinely believed that we were going to be the ones throwing candy out to boys and girls and putting smiles on their faces. We were going to shake hands of members of our community and hug our family and celebrate the wins and success that life brought to us. But we find ourselves here today, sitting on that curb, realizing we've become a spectator rather than a participant. Think back when you decided to go into your particular industry or career, the job you chose. 2 of the primary reasons you chose that job were 1, earning capacity, and 2, lifestyle. But we are all busier than we've ever been and still not satisfied with the results. Something's got to change. Why are we in such a hurry as a society to become somebody we don't even like? I know in my own personal life, when I'm in a hurry, I'm the worst version of myself. I'm short-tempered, I'm irritated, I'm stressed, there's anxiety, I'm short with the people I love the most. Something's got to change. We've got to slow down the pace in which we're living life. I believe the problem between who Brandon is and who Brandon hopes to be, or perhaps the problem between where you are and where you hope to go, is this idea of work-life balance. You see, I believe work-life balance is a problem. Work-life balance doesn't work when we're balancing the wrong priorities. Work-life balance, by definition, is achieved through 2 opposing forces that are in constant tension with each other. And that tension always leads to stress and anxiety. We don't know which hat we should be wearing at what time or where our focus should be. Am I at the office or am I at home? Am I a husband or am I a dad? And the third reason I believe work-life balance is a problem is because it assumes that one's work is separate from one's life. You can't schedule when you're going to have a good idea. You can't put in your calendar when you've simply had enough and need to shut down the laptop and get up and go for a walk. I believe work-life balance is an incredible problem our society faces today. The solution, I believe, is incredibly simple. While at the same time, I think it's incredibly complex. You see, it's simple because we all have the head knowledge. We know exactly what we need to do to solve this problem. But the difficulty is it requires a change in our habits and our behavior. What if the solution, what if the secret to our success was simply being present? What if the secret to your dreams coming true, the success you've always desired, was simply found in being present? What if the secret to happiness was just being where your feet are? How do we do that? This afternoon, Billings, before we get out of here, I want to give you a quick 4-step process that I believe will help you get from where you are to where you hope to be. The first step, you've got to search. You've got to dig deep inside of you and define what are your priorities. If I said, hey, let's take 30 seconds, everybody pull out your notebook and your pen and write down what are your priorities. I know exactly what you would write down. Your husband, your wife, your significant other, your children, your faith, your rest, your fitness, your business, your career. Not one of us in this room would write down our cell phone, scrolling TikTok, or binge watching the latest show on Netflix. We don't have a time problem. We have a direction problem. We have a priority issue. So the first step, you got to dig deep. You got to search and define what your priorities are. The second step, you got to shield. You have to protect what most matters to you. How often do we hear people say, I wish I could get to the gym and work out, but I just don't have time. I wish my wife and I could connect and go on a date night, but our calendar's just so full. I wish I could go to the park with my kids, and I just don't have time. Again, we seem to have time to update our fantasy football record. We know who got a rose or didn't get a rose on The Bachelor last night, and we are current on our favorite show on Netflix. In our house, in the Smith household, one of our priorities is family dinner. When we come together for family dinner, in our kitchen, we have this box up on the shelf, and all of our devices go into that box. So I believe out of sight, out of mind. And you may be sitting there and say, Brandon, wow, this sounds really legalistic. Perhaps it is. But I know for my household and my family, we had to create a system that protected what matters most and got us closer to our goal. I easily could take my cell phone out at dinner, sit it on the island in the kitchen, but here's what happens. And you've been there too. You get up, you run to the fridge to grab the milk or the sour cream, and you quickly walk by and you pick up that phone just to see what time it is. And you see that notification. You open it up and now you're in a text conversation with Matt, and you're confused and distracted from what's most important, from your priority. And I believe distraction is confusion about what's most important. And TEDxBillings, I don't want you distracted. I don't want you confused. I want you to shield and protect what matters most to you. So first, we got to search. Number 2, we got to shield. Number 3, we have to create a schedule that aligns with our priorities. Create a calendar that reflects what matters most to you. In our household, every Sunday night, we have a family meeting, my wife and our 3 kids. Sometimes the meeting's 10 minutes, sometimes it's 45 minutes. We love to talk through the details of the week, put all the logistics and schedules in the calendar, make sure we have a plan. Because I believe that tomorrow really does start today. And if we want to get closer to our goals, we got to protect what matters most to us and put it in our calendar and create a schedule that reflects what truly matters most. We'll put in there when we're going to work out, what time we're going to bed, not because we're tired, but because the people the next morning deserve our best. They don't need a tired, exhausted, rolling in late Brandon. We've got to create a schedule that reflects what matters most to us. My youngest daughter, Harper, I remember one night she came into my home office and she walks up to me and she said, Dad, will you play Barbies with me? I said, Harper, absolutely. I would love to play Barbies with you. Can you let Dad finish this email? Just give me a couple minutes. Let me finish this email and we'll play Barbies. Harper smiles and agrees, and I hear her little feet patter up the stairs, running up to her room. You've been there. You know exactly what happens. You're working on that email. You're focused. You're wordsmithing it perfectly. You're spell checking it. You're getting it ready to send off. You get it dialed in and you hit send. And then you see in your inbox that new email that just came in. We never defined that our email was one of our priorities, but somehow it sucks us in and we open it up and we begin reading that and need to respond. And before we know it, we hear our wife from the kitchen say, hey, dinner's ready. Family comes together for dinner. We put our phones and our devices in the boxes because we want the intentional time together. Dinner comes to an end. We've got to clean up the kitchen, put away the leftovers. And then it's time for homework, showers, and bed. I never played dolls with Harper. Wasn't my intent, but I totally messed up because I was distracted and confused about what was most important. So now what happens in the Smith household when my daughter runs up to me and says, Dad, will you play Barbies with me? I say, absolutely, Harper. Let's take a look at the calendar and find a time where you and I can play Barbies. Say we land at 7 o'clock on Thursday night. You know, the truth is, Harper's not disappointed. She actually anticipates and looks forward to Thursday night at 7 o'clock. Throughout the week, she'll come up to me and say, Dad, are we still on for Barbies on Thursday? And I can look at her with complete confidence and say, Harper, we are. And you know what I found out as a parent? It never was about Barbies. It's about the one-on-one intentional time between a father and a daughter. So just because it's in your calendar doesn't mean it happens. You have to, number 4, show up. You have to have the behavior. You have to have the discipline to do what you said you were going to do. Guess what happens Thursday night at 7 o'clock? Dad shows up without phone, without email, without distraction, and has one-on-one intentional time with his daughter. What if the secret to our dreams coming true, everything we dreamt life would look like, was simply found in being present? What if the secret to your success, what if the secret to happiness was being where your feet are? Not the pace in which we're living or the rat race of life or just trying to get to the next whatever. But if we just slowed down and took a deep breath, and what if balance wasn't something we did, but something we felt? It was Christmas morning. Family got up early, we had breakfast together, read the Christmas story, opened the stockings, and got to the best part, the presents. It was like a scene from a classic Christmas movie. The morning was winding down, my wife exited the room, came back with a wrapped gift and said, oh wait, there's one more. In that moment, I quickly pulled out my phone because I knew that this moment, Harper was going to get the gift where all of her dreams come true. This was going to be a moment that I genuinely believe someday my daughter was going to tell her kids and grandkids about that Christmas. The one where she got that doll, her favorite doll, the baby that changed her life forever. The anticipation was high. The expectation was high because TEDxBillings, this is what Harper wanted. But this is what Harper got. Hard plastic, bald spots, matted hair, $140-some. Truthfully, the most awkward part is probably being a grown man traveling to speak at TEDx, and TSA at the airport pulls us out of your bag and just kind of looks at you with a smile and nod. But you know, after the tears from Harper stopped and they turned into laughter, I learned one of the greatest lessons of my life from my 9-year-old daughter that day. You see, the snow began to fall. We were all in our Christmas jammies. The fire was lit. We had a Christmas movie on. I was sitting there on the couch with my 9-year-old daughter to my right, with my arm around her and her head on my chest. And there was total peace and happiness in the midst of the chaos of the season. What if happiness was found in just being present? What if the secret to your success was being where your feet are? How long, Billings, have we gone after chasing the bright and the shiny, or the next sale, or the next tactic, or the new product that we believe is going to fix everything and give us what we believed life was going to give us? We get exhausted from the pace and we find ourselves sitting there on that curb watching life passing us by, wondering why it didn't play out the way we thought it would. What if the secret to get from where you are to where you want to be is simply being where your feet are? I would assume many of you have, in your life, you've gone up to your bedroom, you've cleaned out your room, you've cleaned out your closet, you have made space for that new baby, that new doll, whatever it is, because you genuinely believe, like Harper did, that it was going to change your life forever and be your dream come true. What if the secret to happiness, what if the secret to success, what if the secret to your dreams was simply being present? What if the secret to happiness was simply being present in the moment? Be where your feet are. Thank you, Billings.